Three. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 18th episode of James Squared. I didn't think we'd get this far, mostly on my part. But whenever I think 18, number 18, I don't really think of Alex Ochoa, but I think of Orlando Cabrera. Who do you think of, and how are you, Milu?
I'm great. The Angels actually won a game. Um, I think of there's been many players that won.
Oh, Nolan
Before
Shanuel,
18.
duh.
Yeah, Nolan, the great Nolan
Well,
Shanuel, number 18, and Orlando Cabrera.
that's
And
one of Todd's guys.
yeah, seems like we number 18 is interesting. Nolan wears it now, but it seems like whenever we pick up a new free agent, they pick number 18, and they don't stay around. They don't stick around very long. So, glad that Nolan wears 18 right now, and he's going to stick around, obviously. So, yeah, it's interesting. Everybody, Alex Ochoa was one of them from that 0-2 championship team. One of the unsung heroes, I think, bench player. Not too many people knew about him, but yeah, he was on that team and he did some good things throughout that 0-2 season. Yeah.
It's a difficult number to remember any else by, but
Right.
I want to say Luis Valbuena also had that number, but I could be wrong when he was with the Angels.
I think he was
12? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been a while.
The late, great Luis Valbuena.
Yeah, it was shocking when we heard he died. Let's mention to follow, subscribe here on Halos in the Infield on YouTube and also on Believe.com for the podcast forum. Please go to Noble Ale Works on 1621 Sinclair Street, Suite B. Get there, just tell the bartenders, mention Heedy or Todd or Halos in the Infield. You'll get specials on pints, and they always have something new coming up every couple of months. Always some great events going on, on the weekend, comedy nights during the week. It's all fun there. And also, James, 714 tickets.
714 tickets. 714 tickets. Call today, and you can go tonight.
I dare you. There's no game there today.
There is no game today.
Well, there is in Arizona.
Yeah. You can go to Arizona. Hey, 714 tickets nationwide. You can buy tickets for any game in the United States.
Make sure you put in that code HITI for 10% off your purchase.
That's right.
And that's going forward on anything, NFL, WNBA, whatever else is out there, the other MLB teams out there. And then you get 5% off going forward, too. So that's a great deal there. And then also, James Milu, by Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for NHL and NBA playoff bets this season. Every stat, every matchup, even live odds while the games are even being played. We've seen the Celtics take over the series, basically 3-0. The Florida Panthers lead 2-0. They play on Thursday night in Edmonton. So that should be interesting if Edmonton can get back into it. And then when the game's over, head on to our online casino to get on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind on one of our over 150 slot games on betonline.com. Also head to the website today to get onto the action. And don't forget the promo code BELIEVE, all in caps. Believe with a V, of course, at the end of Believe, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So Bet Online, the game starts here. So the game recaps will start here, Milu. We'll go from last week on. Obviously, we covered the Padres series that was, and it was a sweet surprise with the sweep of the Padres at home. Of course, Thursday, the Angels had off on the 6th and then 7th. 8th and 9th, the Astros came in, and there was hardly any satisfaction the first two games. They were outscored. Was the Angels 13-2, a pair of losses 7-1 and 6-1, and then Sunday happened, which was an amazing back and forth game. Now I was working, but I just heard the back and forth runs were going on. Ended up Logan O'Hoppe hit a 2-run home run to win the game in the ninth inning, in which Trey Cabbage went over the wall with the glove and it dropped into the stands, and the kid picked it up, and that's when you knew it was a home run. Nobody really knew, the runner was gonna, run back to first, but luckily didn't, cross O'Hoppe. And they won 9-7 somehow. It was an amazing moment. I think the moment of the year, I would say.
It was the first walk-off. Yeah, the first Angels walk-off win at home. All season, and we're, 60-something games in, and we had our first walk-off at home.
That was the 65th game of the season. And finally, on the home schedule, a game-winning hit. And Josh Hader continues to struggle this year with a 4 ERA. He lost the game there at 3-4. Estevez gets the win, actually, and he gets his first win of the season. So that was a big, chaotic walk-off home run, but it was something that was just amazing to see, because you don't see that type of drama really happen at Angel games. It's kind of reminiscent. I think it was Jet Lowry who hit that one grand slam off of Houston Street some years back. I think it was in 2015 or 16, and just seemed to propel the Astros ever since at the Big A. That's what that kind of moment reminded me of.
You know what it reminded me of? It was reminiscent. Logan O'Hoppe hitting that home run was reminiscent of Scott Spezio's Game 6 homer in right field, where he watched it go and it just went right over the wall. And I think it was Reggie Sanders. He went up to catch it and just carried into the crowd. It kind of reminded me of like that. The crowd went nuts, and we ended up winning that game. The most iconic win in Angels history, besides the Game 7 win. But the suspense level, kind of reminiscent of all that. And then Trey Cabbage, you see him. He clearly caught the ball, but it was jarred loose when he hit the wall. And then you see the ball go into the stands. It was kind of reminiscent of that, I thought, of that.
Somebody on the Angels had I think it was Ward had a misplay like that earlier this season.
Yeah, right.
I think he's had a couple like that where it went off the glove and he banged into the wall, and then it went off the glove and it went over the wall.
Remember
that happened to somebody else? Oh, Adele too.
It happened to Adele. Remember when he was in Texas when they were playing the Rangers?
2020 year. Yep.
Yeah, and that fluky, he went to go catch the fly ball and it ricocheted off him and over the wall. He tried to catch it off his glove and it went over that short wall at Globe Life Field.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Oh, sure.
More embarrassing moments as an Angel. Reminiscent of Jose Canseco's ball off the top of his head that went over the wall for a home run years ago. Kind of reminded me of that moment.
That was like, a couple weeks ago, 30-something years ago, I want to say?
Yeah.
A while back. So then the Angels had June 10th off, and then they went to Arizona for 3 games. 2 have been played, of course, that we're talking to you. They lost 9-4 Tuesday, and it was a unfortunate performance all around for the Angels. Jose Suarez got the start, and of course that didn't go well. He gave up, I think it was 4 runs after 3 innings, and that was pretty much all you needed to see. Jordan Montgomery was going to be a tough customer. He's always been a tough customer against the Angels. He had great numbers against the Angels last year in Texas, and he showed it this game, I should say. Suarez gave up the 6 hits, and then There was a little more with Joyce coming in, and we'll talk about him later, giving up 3 runs. Fulmer giving up a couple. Just unfortunate there. And then, James, you mentioned, or Milu, you mentioned there was a team meeting. Was it after Tuesday's game or Wednesday's game? And how did that
I think
go?
it was before Wednesday's game. They had an emotional team meeting. Everybody was held accountable for everything, and they just discussed, from what I was reading, what Jeff Fletcher, the OC Register, said, that there were some people that stood up, leaders in the clubhouse, that stood up and voiced their opinions on certain things, and it was just a very emotional. Ron Washington got involved. It was just it wasn't a bad thing. It was just a good. Everyone voiced their concerns about how the Halos were going, and how they should approach the rest of this series and beyond. And it was, I guess, an emotional day, and then apparently it worked, because the next game they came out guns a-blazing.
Who are the leaders on the Angels right now? Is it Pilar?
I think it's Pilar is a big one right now. I think O'Hoppy's one of them. He's emerged as one of the leaders. He's kind of like he is the quarterback. Neto, another one. I can see them stepping up, and it's really good. You want to see these young players on this team step up in the absence of Trout and Rendon as leaders on this team, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And I think it's kind of cool that Ron Washington, and along with these guys, they have a meeting like this. This is like the 5th or 6th meeting probably that they've had, but each time they have one of these meetings, they come out and they play great, and then it doesn't translate into other games.
No,
but you're seeing that leadership quality, and that's what this team really needs. For this team to be able to grow in the future, you need these players to step up, and that's just what they're doing, and it's good to see. And you saw that last night. Everybody they seemed more focused, and they just like they look like a well-oiled machine there for most of the game. And look at Soriano, had a fantastic start. He almost went the distance, until Wash pulled him, I believe, in the 9th inning, and brought in Matt Moore, who gave up a 2-run homer. But other than that, I mean, they played unlike we've seen this season. We've seen glimpses of it throughout the season, but they looked like a real team last night. And that going forward, that's what we need from this team.
Yeah, they won 8-3. What was it? Pilar started things off in the 1st inning with a double that drove Rengifo to make it 1-0. Top of the 2nd, Neto crushed a home run, a solo shot to make it 2-0. And then Willie Cahoon had a single, donged home run, and it made it 3-0. Shanuel scored. And then top of the 4th,
dong himself,
Adele homered and made it a 3-run home run there for Adele to make it 6-0. And then also in that inning, in the 4th, there were runs in every inning for the Angels so far there. Rengifo singled in Guillorme to make it 7-0. Top of the 6th, what should have been a triple was only a ground rule double, excuse me. It was weird. 8-0 it was anyway for Neto. The home run was reviewed and overturned. The ball did land short of that top of the fence over there. They have a weird batter's eye in Arizona where it's in play and it's high. Anyway, Thigh scored to make it 8-0. Christian Walker had a home run for the Diamondbacks to make it 8-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 9th, Marte made his presence felt with the 2-run home run to make it 8-3. But the Angels, of course, held on. And you talked about Soriano having a tremendous start. I mean, he's the reason why I want to watch the Angels on certain days that he pitches, because he always has the guts, the ganas, the desire to do great. And the record might not show it at 4-5 now because he's had some, hard luck starts where the offense wasn't like this and not, getting runs home. But he went those 8 innings you mentioned. I think he wanted to go 9, but wash it. Hey, save it for another day. Only gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and that home run given up to Walker. Matt Moore came in and gave up that home run on that hit and an inning of work. Did get a strikeout too. And it was good too to see the Angels get to see Cioni, the Diamondbacks starter. He only went 3 innings with 10 hits given up, 7 earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs given up. That was Neto and Adele. It was good for once, James, to see another team have that starting pitching line where it's cricket numbers.
Right. Absolutely. God. And it was good to see the Angels attacking the ball. They were patient, but yet they made some, they
aggressive swings.
They put the bat on the ball, and it worked out. They were just usually this Angels team, they hit the ball hard, but right at people. Last night the ball was, it was finding holes in that infield. So CNI, you need a CNI single. You had some doubles, you had some homers, and even Moniak got a couple hits last night. I mean, that's a good sign for him. He came alive a little bit last night. That was good to see. Everybody was pitching in on this win. It was a full team win. And
that's
it was
the one
good
guy
to see.
That needs hits.
Yes, Moniak's been struggling the most, I think, this whole team so far. And it's good to see him busting out of his slump a little bit. So we'll see. And it's good to see Wash out there giving Soriano that pat on the back. He went out there to see if he was okay, if he could. He told him, hey, just get this last out. And he did. And then he came back for the 8th or the 9th, whatever inning it was, and almost went the distance. But, and that's good. Soriano, the thing with him is he got all the way to the 8th. Pretty soon he's going to go the distance here because he's being stretched out as a starter now, and we're seeing what he can do as a starter. And it's a beautiful thing.
Hell yeah. I just love those little visits by Washington when he doesn't have the hook, when he doesn't have to have the hook, where he can just go out there and motivate the troops and just say, hey, we know you can do it. I'm going to let you work at it. I'm going to give you one more batter, though. You better get it done. And that's the fun thing about it. That's the old school mentality of managing when you didn't have to worry about how many mound visits you had or whatever. It was perfect. Milu, let's get to now Thursday's game. The Angels at 26-41, Diamondbacks at 32-36. It's a 6:40 start, of course, on FS1 nationally for anybody out there. Or you won't be able to hear this. I don't dare see this. But it will be national televised game, which is shocking. But the probable pitchers, it'll be Griffin Canning at 2-6 with a 4.65 ERA, 47 strikeouts. Pfott will go for the Diamondbacks. He's been struggling this year. 2-5 record with a 4.60 ERA, although he does have 76 strikeouts. Pfott, I remember him, Brandon Pfott, his last start was in San Diego. They roughed him up a bit. He got the loss, of course. 5 run runs given up in 9 hits in 5 1/3 innings. His last 3 starts, by the way, at San Diego, at the Mets, and at Texas, 5 runs, 4 runs, and 4 runs given up. So if they keep the beat going, do the Angel offense, they can get to this pitcher and get back into the bullpen. Remember the Diamondbacks used about 3 or 4 pitchers yesterday from the bullpen. So it'd be good though to see Canning get a decent start this year. This will be his 14th start. Remember his last start, it was against Houston. On the 7th, he got the loss. He did go 6 1/3 innings, 7 hits and 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So, hoping for Canning to have a better start. How do you see this game going?
Well, if the Angels continue this energy, that they from the team meeting that they had, and they dovetail off the game that they had yesterday, I think it's going to go really well for the Halos. They just got to continue to be consistent, hit the ball, and these Diamondbacks aren't world beaters by any means, So the key is just to pitch well and to hit well, and we need Canning to go to do what he's been doing. Just go 6 innings, 7 innings, hand it over to the bullpen, and get a win. I mean, just the key is just to pitch and hit well. Come out with the same energy we had yesterday. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Got to keep that going. The standings, by the way, the Angels again at 26-41 in 4th place now. Oakland has lost 5 straight. That's why they're back in last. The Angels, though, 12.5 games out of 1st place. The Diamondbacks, that NL West continues to grow apart from the Dodgers as per usual. The Diamondbacks 9.5 back in 4th place, kind of like the Angels in a way. The Giants, by the way, are 8 games back of LA in that NL West. And I mentioned the Giants because that's where the Angels are going, to San Francisco. Hopefully they don't leave losses in San Francisco. Friday will be on Apple TV Plus. Again, the Angels will be on Apple TV Plus against those Giants at 34 and 35. 8 games out. There's no starters out just yet. The Giants, they've been up and down, having some fun games during this week against the Astros, by the way, who just left the Angels. They're really a hard team to kind of predict on. But that's where the Angels are going in San Francisco. I don't know what the hell is going to happen with that series.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah, I don't even like.
I mean, they're much like the Angels. They're a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of team too. You never know what you're gonna get. One day they look good, the another day they look terrible. They're kind of like, I think the Giants and Angels are kind of evenly matched, but the Giants have a little better pitching.
Yeah,
and the offense about pretty much the same. They have Matt Chapman playing third base over there. So that's basically their offense, along with Yastrzemski and a couple other guys. But it should be a good series. And it's always, every time we play the Giants, I can't help but think of the 2002 team that beat the Giants in 7 games. So it's like we always have a leg up on them there because we beat them.
That'll be brought up, definitely.
Yeah.
Some injuries, news, and notes. Mentioned about O'Hoppe. He got a foul ball in a sensitive area, and he had a hard time getting up and walking out the game. I believe it was on Tuesday. He was head out of the lineup Wednesday, as well as Ward. It was just a freak accident on.
Hoppe's been a little blue.
Hoppe.
That's what a little blue.
Yeah. In the 6th inning, it was off of Grichuk. Taylor Ward had a lower back tightness. I don't know if he'll be back in the lineup for Thursday. We haven't seen, but that was unfortunate how the Angels lost 2 of their starters just like that in that lineup on Tuesday. Keston Herrera signed a minor league deal. Some infield depth for the Angels on Tuesday. He signed.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a big deal because UC Irvine, former first-round pick. I think it was the Brewers.
Yeah, he was with the Brewers from 2019 to last year. He'll go to Salt Lake City and report there. it just sucks because Adrianza just hasn't came back right away from his injury. 27-year-old Herrera was Harora, I should say, was previously in the AAA organization of Detroit. He only hit 232, but he had 6 home runs, 24 RBIs in 49 games. He was released June 3rd. You mentioned his career home runs at 50. So maybe they can find a little pop there. You never know.
A little change of scenery once again may do him so well. He's coming back to Southern California. He's a Southern California kid. Who knows? Maybe being back in Orange County will do him some good. We're hoping. I mean, he could be a very valuable piece. They're projecting him to play first base to spell Nolan Shanuel.
Really?
Because this is what I learned. He's kind of a defensive liability out at second and short. So they play him at first for his bat. First base. In the majors, it's not a very challenging position. So they may play him there. That's a possibility. Knowing the Angels, they'll play him all around that infield. So if he does come up to the bigs, but we'll see. I mean, he's an intriguing player for sure. Former first rounder with some pop, but it just hasn't translated in the show for much of anything. But he was at one time he was showing some promise. So we'll see. So the Angels like to pick up these guys.
Yeah, that's one thing about the injuries. You got to go find someone. And a lot of people do want to come home sometimes and play for the home team. So we wish Keston hopefully comes up very soon. Maybe at the end of the month at homestand or in July, which the Angels are barely home for. But we'll see if that's the case. Speaking of coming up to the bigs, Ben Joyce, and I think it's a question that I kind of want to ask you, but I mentioned Ben Joyce, and he's had a couple of losses, a couple of bad outings, one good one. His ERA 22.50. He has 3 games pitched, 2 innings, 8 hits and 5 earned runs, 1 walk. No home runs given up though. That's good, and one strikeout. But I feel like I don't know if the Angels should have brought him up or not. That was the question I was going to ask you, because they did really need to find out what he was doing so well at Salt Lake City. He was doing so well down there in the minors, and then they brought him up, and he's kind of had some struggles other from the Padre game that he was in last week. But against Houston, he struggled and gave up a lot of runs. And this time on Tuesday against Arizona, do you think it was a mistake, though, that the Angels brought up Ben Joyce from what he was doing at the minors?
Well, when we first saw Ben Joyce last year, he was throwing some straight gas, and then he had some location issues, which led him being sent down to the trash pan as AA. But this year, this was his first tour with the Angels for this season, and was it a mistake? No. When a guy throws 105 miles an hour, you got to give him a chance, because this guy has some straight gas, and it just hasn't translated well at the big league level because he's not mixing his pitches in well enough. He's just throwing heat, and these guys now are the fastball hitters, at this level. So if he threw some sliders and some sinkers, maybe the sweeper maybe finds another pitch to mix in with all that gas. I think he'd be more successful. His location has gotten better, but now he's just locating it for hitters that actually hit the ball far, because you know as well as I know, a player gets a hold of one of those 103, 104 mile an hour fastballs, it's going out of the yard, and that's what we're seeing with Ben Joyce. He's hittable right now.
That's definitely true.
And he just got to mix his pitches in. I think he'll be fine, but some of it's probably mental too. You know, he wants to do well. He wants to stay in the Angels bullpen, and he wants to do really well. So I think it's more of a matter of just mixing his pitches, basically, and he'll do just fine. But he's still young. You know, he's still learning his way at the big league level. I think you throw him out there a few more times to see. I mean, if he's not ready, you send him back down. You know. But the Trash Pandas did have the #1 bullpen in all of the Pacific Coast League. So, and he was a part of that. So naturally, you bring up a guy, and that's why they brought him up, because he was doing so well down there.
I stand corrected. It was AAA or AA, not AAA.
Yeah, it was AA with the Trash Panda.
No wonder they were doing so well.
Yeah, wow. See, our AAA team not so much. They pitching just you know that's why we pull guys from AA, because they're doing much better than the guys at AAA, which is kind of odd. Which the Angels, I don't get the logic behind that, but hey, you got to give him a shot. So, but Ben Joyce will be fine. He just needs to settle down a bit and rely on guys like Logan O'Hoppe and Thies to help guide him. You know, this is only his second or third call up, so he's still very young. He's still learning at this level. So I think as long as he mixes in some pitches, maybe find another pitch to throw in there with all that heat, he'll be just fine.
And Melau, the next topic, I was wondering this, and I'm just thinking to myself, are the Angels going to only have one lone representative for the All-Star game in Texas in July? I mean, you look at Tyler Anderson with his stellar ERA at 2.63. I say that because of, ERAs usually are like, 3+, 4+, 5+ now. It's kind of been inflated. And so it's good to see him the opposite of last year. He does have a 5-6 record, but he has he's been better as other from last year. Less runs given up, the less out of the starters on the team. Only 53 strikeouts, but again, that ERA looks very well. He leads the team in wins. So that's for the pitching side. But is there a hitter out there, maybe Taylor Ward, even though, his stats have kind of, declined a little bit. He's got 12 home runs and 36 RBIs, OBP at 331. Melau, I'm only seeing Ward as the lone Halo representative at the All-Star game. What do you think?
Well, there's a few players that could go to the All-Star game for the Angels this year. Tyler Anderson being one, Logan O'Hoppe, Rengifo. There's another one hitting well over 300. Kevin Pillar is another one. I think he qualifies now, coming over as a free agent. He's really turned his season around from when he was with the White Sox with the Angels. I mean, you have a few players, but I think the Halos go with two players, and it's probably going to be Anderson and Rengifo, I would say.
Anything about Adele you would think with his 12 home runs and 30 RBIs? Do you think maybe despite the low batting average at 198, do you think he might get a shot at it just because of his ribbies and homers, or no?
No, not because he's hitting under the Mendoza line right now. So it's really, they look at those numbers. I mean, if he was hitting closer to 270, 280, I would make a case for Joe Adele.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you look at guys like Luis Rengifo and Tyler Anderson, and maybe a Logan O'Hoppe in the mix. Maybe Logan O'Hoppe's maybe one of the sneaks in with an injury. But I just don't. Adele, his numbers, albeit good, his power numbers are good. His average is just not there.
Fielding has
just
been
not
better than last year, but yeah, you mentioned the average under 200. Right. So yeah, I'm just trying to get anybody in, but it's.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna say only one for right now. One guy we hoped that would make a start in his way to an All-Star game has not gone the path that we hoped. Reed Detmers, he's had a challenging season so far, and he's going to remain in AAA for additional starts. We recall, I believe it was last Thursday or Friday, right, in AAA Salt Lake City. He had a terrible performance. He gave up 7 earned runs, 10 hits, including 4 home runs in 5 innings. The focus was to remain on redefining his slider. He threw more sliders and fastball during the game. Remember, he was sent down after his June 1st start against Seattle, where he had a poor performance then. So he'll be down there. Ron Washington did mention, that he might need some more starts down there. He might need to go down there. He may go down. He may go out there the next time and do well. And the people above me may change their mind. That's what Ron Washington said. And I hate to hear that because, we're always wondering, who's really running things or who really has an eye for the good and the bad of players. But obviously Reed needed this, tune-up. And he's just down on the farm again, and he's continuing to not perform very well. Melau, what's your reaction to this? And then when do you think Reed will be able to come back to the majors, if so, this year?
Well, with Detmers, it all depends on his mental makeup as in going down to AAA and, really working on himself and trying to find his stuff. And maybe once he finds his stuff again, we'll see him at the big league level. But right now, I think you just go back to basics and you go back to fundamentals and you let these coaches coach you and see what and just go out there and throw what you got and work on your mechanics and see what, use different pitches, try different pitches, and mentally get back to where he needs to be at the big league level. Because, most of this game is 80% mental. And I think what's between your ears what's between Detmer's ears that's going to be the key to him getting back to the big leagues. And his stuff is there. He just needs to find his location. He needs to he has the stuff. We saw it earlier this season. He pitched a no-hitter for us a couple seasons ago. I mean, the kid's good. You just gotta get back to basics. You just gotta get back to that mentality, and you gotta refine your pitches. But as far as him coming up to the big league level, I think we'll see him again. I just don't know when. I think he just needs to find himself once again. And it helped the first time he was sitting down. We saw that a year or two ago when he was sitting down and, he worked with the coaches on some things. He came up and he was fine. But once again, I think once he gets past himself, I think he'll come back and be the pitcher that he was with the Angels, So hopefully he can find some stuff in Salt Lake. And we've seen it in the past with other pitchers, and it seems to help. But he's got to get right mentally before he can come back. So I'm hoping he comes back sooner than later because we need him. But right now it's up to Reed to see who he's got to find himself once again.
Definitely. We'll look out for that. Maybe
right.
Next month or so, we'll see him back. He's just got to have a consistent 3 starts, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Before we go though, we have to mention this, and it's just weird how this works out. It's the 3rd-year anniversary of Halos in the Infield. I can remember when it first started. We covered the Angels in while they were in Arizona. Odd thing.
I
Remember
remember that. Yeah.
me and Todd went to spring training that season. Actually, when they were facing the Diamondbacks, and there's real no like talks about starting up a group. Todd was elsewhere. Everybody else was doing freelance stuff. I know you had your what was it, the hub?
I don't think I was doing. I was in between things. I was doing some stuff on the side. I was doing radio
That's right.
at KLBC at Long Beach City College. I was talking Angels on there, and then I would just randomly talk to people on whatever on Facebook or whatever about the Angels, but I didn't have anything like this. So I was kind of in between. But yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that, Todd approached me to be a part of something great, Halos in the Infield. And here we are 3 years later, and we're going strong. We're building something that's really, really great for our fan base and for Halos fans, for fellow Angels fans. We're just a couple guys that love Angels baseball, that love to talk Angels baseball. All of us,
Yeah.
Fernando, Todd, we're very passionate about this team, and so are our viewers. And I think it's just been a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we've come this far, and it's great. We keep on going strong.
Yeah, it takes all of us, and
Yeah.
with Todd, Fernando, and
Rob,
he's
Halo
got a
Joe.
great. You and Rob
Yeah.
definitely have the expertise of
Right.
actually playing the game, just like others. Not really me, I guess, but others that can talk about why someone is struggling, the mechanics of someone, like we were just talking about Detmers. Why someone isn't hitting, but also the interviews that we've had over the years, and we just had a couple this week, and I love the Heath Bell, episode. I got to meet him a couple of times, and he was just down to earth, just like he was in the interview. If you go check that out, there was a recent interview. I think it came out Thursday morning. I forget I should know the wrestler's name, but I don't follow any of that. But he came on there, and a big Angel fan, and they had a great time. So that was really good to see. But 3 years of Halos in the Infield, covering this team like no one does. When you really think about it, no one covers the team like we do. No one
has a
the
team
criticism
of people like we do. Yeah. We have a whole team of people that, dedicate their time.
That wrestler, Frankie what was his name? Frankie Kazaran. He's a big Angel fan, and it was good seeing that interview. But getting back to, being able to say pretty much what we want.
Right.
I mean, that has kind of hurt us in the Angels' public eye, but it shows the true fandom, and I'd rather have that than anything, instead of like sugarcoating something or, working for being a company man or whatever. I'd rather be, out front about the team and its struggles and the ownership and the management. I'd rather do that than let people, think everything's fine. I'd rather tell people, hey, it's not going to get better unless there's change.
Right.
And it's something that no one will ever say, involved with the team. So it's perfect the way it is. So 3-year anniversary, and it's good to have you. Good to have Halo Joe. That dude's a musician with all the funny stuff he does. He's added another dynamic to this group. It's been great. Hopefully we'll meet up sometime on a Thursday or Friday. We'll go to a game or something like that. But yeah, 3 years of a heady, and again, it all started in Arizona for the group and covering the team with my pregame show that isn't around anymore, thank God. But yeah, 3 years, it's been amazing, and we'll get out of here with that. Again, go to YouTube for all of the follow, subscribe, like, and share the videos. Go to believe.com podcasts for the podcast form, I should say. And then Bet Online, 714 tickets, and what was the other one? Noble Oil Works for sure. For all your needs right there.
And we have another new sponsor, Mezzos Calzones in Anaheim.
I went one time there. It was really good stuff.
I hear they have some good calzones.
Was it June 22nd? They're going to have a opening there, and then the 29th, there will be some appearances by Angel players. I want to say, right? So go check out all of that.
Yeah, it's right behind the stadium, right there, right behind the Amtrak station. It's right where that big building is you see in center field. It's in that shopping center, right?
Literally on your way to Noble, or vice versa.
Noble Ale's right across, and then you have Mezzos. It's perfect. You just hit up have a beer at Noble, go to Mezzos for a calzone, and then hit the stadium. Oh, buy your tickets at 714 tickets. Put it in the Heedy code, get 10% off, and then Bet Online. You can make some money off of that, and yeah. So look, you can hit everybody up all at once.
That's a great thing to save some money all the way through here.
Right.
All right, thank you, folks, for watching James Squared, and we'll see you next week. Later.
Go Halos! Let's get some wins.